In just a second, I'm going to be introducing author Lucy Hay, and this is the second time I've gotten to talk to her, and I am so excited because I just watched our first interview, and she is so much fun. I can't wait to talk to her again. But she has two new books coming out, and the one that we're going to be talking about the most is Do No Harm, which is going to be right there. But then she has a YA novel out called Proof Positive, which is going to be right there. And I'm going to be giving away both these books on Instagram, and I'll talk a little bit more about this after our interview. But you're going to love this interview. She is awesome, okay? And she just talks and talks, and I could listen to her talk all day. So everyone, here is Lucy. Hi, everyone. I am so excited because I am speaking with author Lucy V. Hay, and I say the V because that's what you go by, so I just put it in there. And this is the second time we're talking, and I just want to thank you so much because when this was a new YouTube channel, like, you graciously came on, and I was so excited. It was like, you were like the biggest person that had said yes at that time, and I was like, yay, she's gonna talk to me. And that was such a fun interview. You are always so fun. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. I always enjoy speaking about writing and books and blogging and stuff. So it's always great to be on all these channels, and especially yours.
Well, thank you. And I see you all over the place. I mean, you're all over Facebook and your Bang to Write page and now the YouTube channel. I go on there and, so I see you all the time. I feel like we're friends because I see you so much. I feel like,
Yeah, I get everywhere like germs, I say, online. Like a digital germ. So I'm just going to take my glasses off because the light from the window, it's really crazy weather in the UK at the moment. It's so sunny and it's actually blinding me a bit. So I'm getting a bit of a reflection off my glasses with the computer.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be talking about her. She's got two new books out. One is a YA, Proof Positive, that came out at the end of May. And then Do No Harm came out in June. And I read Do No Harm, and you know what? I couldn't wait to read this book because I know if it's you, I mean, you are a storyteller. I mean, you write screenplays, you help people, so I'm like, I know this is going to be good. I don't have to wonder if it's going to be good.
That's really kind. Yeah, no, I love crime fiction. I love YA. Those are my two kind of big passions. And with Do No Harm, it was very much about stalking, because I'm absolutely fascinated by stalking. Not because I am a stalker, I should hasten to add, but I suppose because I grew up in the 90s, and I was a teenager in the 90s. It was quite a weird time to kind of grow up as well. So that was quite interesting for the YA, and I kind of try and mine that for the YA. But for the crime fiction, it was very much a kind of thriller time, especially at the movies. So movies like The Hand That Rocks the Cradle and Copycat and Single White Female.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're all classics. They're all great movies, and they really made me kind of, well, I suppose they made me who I am today in lots of ways. Had lots of strong kind of female leads, and they were always revolving around crime and stalking and just women's kind of, not women's issues, because men are stalkers too, equal opportunity stalking, but just the idea of having like a female protagonist, that was when it got seeded in my head, really, and that's when I became really interested in female protagonists.
Yes, absolutely. And I always know that your stories, because you're such a, with screenplay and everything else, like, you're a tight storyteller, so there's no words wasted. It's like everything leads into, there's a definite beginning, there's a definite middle, and there's a definite end. And that's what I loved about Do No Harm. I mean, it was like, I don't know, it was perfect. Okay. Let me tell you, in the art of storytelling.
You sound like you like it.
It was absolutely perfect. And you know what I've been doing recently, and I can tell you this because, we're both readers and study it. And I've been lately, like, I'll finish a book, especially a book like this, and I go back and I read that first chapter, and then I see how you end it. And the last line of the ending of your first chapter, so for me, that's the last line of the book, and then it, like, makes it so much more, like, intense. And yours was, told you, Denny said, he had been listening all along. And I was like, oh, that was so brilliant. That was so brilliant. Because we don't do any spoilers, but I'm telling you, when I tell you this is an ending to beat all endings, and if you go to the ending, you aren't going to get it anyway. So don't even worry. Just start from the beginning.
Endings are so important. I love a good ending, and when things kind of peter out, I get like real rage. I get like super rage, and it's something that I kind of studied. And there are lots. There are lots of really great writers who maybe don't write brilliant endings. I know a lot of people got really frustrated with the ending of Gone Girl, for example. I love that
Yes.
book, but the ending,
Yes.
Gillian Flynn has a real habit of kind of petering out the end, and it's like, ah, no, just punch us in the face. And I really love to be punched in the face metaphorically
And
by an ending.
yes.
And I think that's why people love movies so much, because screenwriters are really made to write a really great resolution. And of course, Hollywood does that so well. And that's kind of like the gold standard across the world for many, many places, because Hollywood's endings are always really good. The rest of the movie might not be so great, but the ending has to really pack a punch. And so I really want to kind of utilize screenwriting techniques like that to kind of put them in my novels as well, because I think you can use screenwriting techniques to write a novel so easily, because especially when you're writing crime fiction or YA, because very often there's a lot of convergence between screenwriting and those two genres, because the ending is so important, and they're very plot led a lot of the time as well. So I always say to my writers, start with the ending and plot backwards, and then you know where to start, so you don't start too early, because that can be a real problem, especially with plot-led stories, but really any story, to be honest. Most writers will start too early. So if you start with the ending and plot backwards, you know where you're going and you've got a destination. And that's always worked for me. Certainly it's something that a lot of my reviews flag up. They say, I love the ending, which is great. And something that I always want to go for, really, is have that ending that people remember.
Yeah. And I don't want an ending that comes out of nowhere and you had you're like, where did that was nowhere in the, I don't want that kind of an
Yeah, I
ending.
hate that.
I don't want to be like, oh, I didn't even see that. Was it mentioned on page 50? Like, I don't want to see that. I want an ending that I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense now, kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, after reading everything, I mean, let's just set it up a little bit. Let's set this up a little bit. Lily gets married. She was married, had a son. And of course, this is like everybody's life, like half of us anyway, has a son and gets remarried. Okay. And the dad's around, her ex Maxwell is around, and strange things start to happen, and they don't know what's happening. And so go ahead. I'm going to let you talk about that so I don't say too much. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, it's very much about, second chances, the book. So this notion that you've got a woman who's got a gorgeous 6-year-old boy. She's just married her new husband, but her old husband, her ex-husband, is hanging around in the background. He's the father of the little boy. I wanted to do something that was very much kind of Fatal Attraction, but with a little bit of a twist. So instead of like a female crazy stalker, we've got like a male crazy stalker, and he does some really bad stuff. Like they go away on their honeymoon, and they come back and the place has been trashed, for example. Another time, Lily will come back to the flat, and she discovers that the electricity has been turned off, and things like that. And just little things all the time, that obviously create masses of stress if it's really happening to you, and then it gets more and more out of control. And certainly, basically, this might shock you, but every single thing that Maxwell does in the book is actually true. I have met people who've had stalkers who do these things. some of the things are, what I'm talking about is not the murder, obviously, although I have read about stalkers and murder and things like that, obviously. Happily, I haven't met anyone with a stalker who has been killed by them, happily. So that's not real. Although it is real, it does happen in the real world. But certainly all the little things that he does, and there are some really, really bad littler things that he does do, are 100% true. I did a lot of interviews with people who've been stalked. A couple of the things that happen in the book actually did happen to me as well. And really, I just wanted to take something that was, very true, very real, and authentic, and kind of stitch it all together of people's different experiences of being stalked and how stressful it is, really. When someone obsesses over you and says that they love you, but then do these terrible things, it's like, it really kind of makes my brain kind of melt. It's like, how does this happen? How can people justify this kind of crap, basically? I love you so much, I'm going to stalk you. What the hell is that all about? It's very, but people do these things. And it has happened to people in my life as well, and it's happened to me. So on that basis, I wanted to do something that people could actually recognise themselves in and go, oh yeah, I can see that, because I think that's the important thing about storytelling, is it can bring us together and make us recognise these things of either our own lives or the people that we know around us as well. And I think that's the kind of the strength of storytelling and the purpose of it as well.
Yeah, and I have a totally random question for you.
Okay.
Because, I'm in the U.S. and sometimes I don't understand your slang on Facebook. So how many children do you have, first of all? 3?
I have 3. Yes.
Okay. All right. What do you nickname? You always say like that you call them something like W.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's not actually particular to the UK. That's just particular to me.
Okay.
I have the MS, which stands for male spawn. And he's my firstborn. And then I've got my WGs, which stands for wee girls, and wee is a slang word meaning small, although wee girl doesn't actually stand for small girl, as in it's more literal than that. It started because she literally did a pee in the wardrobe. And we found her peeing in the wardrobe when she was a toddler, so she became the wee girl. And people assume it's because she was small, but actually it means she literally weed in the wardrobe.
Okay, so now I'm clear, because you are hysterical. Like, when you talk about the conversations you have with your kids, I laugh out loud. Okay. I love your posts on Facebook. I mean, they're so entertaining. And, in a world where a lot of them aren't entertaining, okay? Like, I look forward to yours.
Oh, well, thank you. I think with social media as well, I talk to my writers, because I work with writers a lot as well. And part of the reason that people follow writers online, whether it's on social media or on blogs or whatever, you do have to have an entertainment factor in it, or some sort of thing that you give your audience. It's still a form of writing. If you just talk about yourself or you just talk about random things, then people are going to tune out very quickly. Whereas you can build a following and increase your reach online very quickly if you entertain them or give them something, a reason to tune in rather than kind of tune you out or worse, unfollow you or filter you or whatever. And unfortunately, a lot of writers spend all their time moaning. They spend all their time moaning about how their book sales are no good, or how badly their writing is going, or how terrible the state of the world is, or how depressed they are. And obviously you can be real, you can be authentic, but you do need to kind of have that kind of balance as well. And happily, people liked my parenting observations. I've been a parent for like half my life now, because I was a teenage mother myself. So I've my eldest now is 20, which is just like, what the hell? I can't even imagine how that happened. So it's really nice to actually talk about my kids. They're a big part of my life. They are really funny. They're really kind of
hysterical. They are hysterical.
People think I make it up
Oh my
sometimes, but
gosh.
I honestly don't. You know, they come out with the most amazing one-liners all the time. So
I was like, you can use that. Now you have it in print,
absolutely.
and then you can go back and you can use that dialogue somewhere,
Absolutely, I mean, Denny in Do No Harm, for example, he is modelled completely on my son. I was a single mother when I got married, and all the things that Denny does in the story, in terms of what he says,
hmm
that it's just my son. That's just
Yeah.
literally what he was like. He was on the day of my wedding. He did my hair for me. He was like, "Oh, let's put some flowers in your hair, mummy," all that kind of stuff. And that's exactly what Denny does in the book. It's one of my favorite memories
Yes.
of my son putting the flower behind my ear and stuff like that. So, yeah, and he had a few problems adjusting to me being married after I've been on my own for his whole life as well, and things like
hmm
that. So again, it's I like to take these real things and use them as like a jumping off point, for a character or for a situation. I think it creates better writing, not just because you should write what you know. Obviously, I think there's lots of things where you can fill things in and make sure that you are actually writing something that's new and fresh even for you. I think you can do that, absolutely. But at the same time, I think authenticity demands that you utilize some of your own experiences. I mean, how can you not? How
Right.
can you not put that into your work? So obviously you keep it open enough that you can actually put that new stuff in,
Yeah.
and the research stuff in, but also you can cherry pick those moments, to give those characters a real feel, or the plot a real feel of some kind, something that you have an experience of, or know someone who has that experience of, and obviously don't just mine their lives and steal their lives, obviously, but do it with their permission. And then you've got authenticity, and I think that's really key, because when I read some speculative works in particular, very often they feel like movies, or they feel like books. It feels like writing,
Right.
um,
Right.
and that's the worst thing ever, when it feels like writing. It should feel real, even if we know it's an illusion. It should have that kind of reality feel to it.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? I'm going to have your Facebook link under here, because anybody who does not on your Facebook, they need to. Okay, so if we're everybody out there, you want some nice, funny, positive, you give great advice to writers, and your Facebook page, Bang to Write, I love. Love, love, love. I always am on there, and I think it's awesome. But before I let you go, I mean, you're a mom, you're writing these books. I know you do so many workshops. I see it all the time. You're just like busy, busy, busy. But what do you have coming up? Are you going to be writing more books?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I know, and try and stop me from writing more books. I'm not going to be writing any more non-fiction anytime soon, I don't think, or certainly if I'm writing any more non-fiction, it probably won't be about writing, because I've written three
So
now.
many,
So,
yes.
and those were the three that people kind of kept saying, "Oh, we would really love a book.
Ugh.
We would love a book on thrillers. We would love a book on dramas. We would love a book on diverse characters." So those were the three that I felt, really compelled to write, because people kept asking about them. But I feel like I've done that now, and obviously I write a lot about writing on my bangtowrite.com
Yes.
website. So I feel
Yes.
like I've got that covered for now. So I would love to write a non-fiction book about, I don't know, maybe I'll write one about parenting one day.
Yeah.
People keep asking me about having kids and stuff. So maybe I could write a comedy book about parenting. I would love that. That would be fun. The only thing is, I think parenting is just, you're just winging it, basically. I know I am.
I am too.
so,
Yeah, me too. I think that is,
so,
it's just like a one
so
page book,
I
one
don't know if I
page.
could spin it out for 200 pages.
I
So,
know. Well, thank you so much, Lucy. Everybody's looking at the covers of these. I love the covers of your books too. It was Do No Harm. It's such a good cover, and everybody's seeing it. And like I said, I'm gonna have all your links and your YouTube channel everywhere you are. And thank you so much. And I'm so happy that I got to read this book. I'm really excited about it. I'm also going to be giving away a copy of each one of these books on Instagram. I'll have that link listed below. So thank you. And I can't wait when you write your next one. Like, call me. I want to read it.
I will tell you all about it. You know,
Okay.
I'm not backwards at coming forwards. I will literally tell everyone about my book. So yes,
Okay.
just keep your eyes peeled on my page, and I'll let you know as soon as I do. And I
Okay.
suppose I better start writing one. You know, more crime fiction. I think will probably be the
Yes.
next one, and also obviously another YA, because Proof Positive was book one in my intersection series. So there will be more of that. I've actually
Oh,
got
awesome.
6 outlined. So
Wow.
I better get started on book 2.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Have a great night.
You too.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.
So much for watching Lucy and I talk. Wasn't she so much fun? Oh my gosh. And I'm not kidding. If you are not on her Facebook page, you need to be. I mean, Bang to Right, I'm going to put both of them down here, but her personal one that she accepts friends from everybody, it is hysterical. She is really, really funny. And I mean, if you couldn't tell just by that. But anyway, I just want to thank her for letting me read it. And thank you for letting me do this giveaway. It's going to be international, which all my international friends are going to be so excited on Instagram. I'm going to list that link down below. Winner will be picked tonight. Thank you, everyone.